More than 500 million people use omega-3 supplements. When tested, 97% do not get their desired results. And even worse, they don't know if the products they are using actually work. That's where we come in. Through our disruptive technology, our customers are made aware that they need a real change to get the most out of their life. Our products promote one of the most important building blocks in our cell structure. Without it, your body is compromised. As a partner promoting these products, this becomes your ticket to wealth.
Our mission: we inspire wealth and health for our customers, families, and friends.
Becoming your best is not just about talent and fancy gears.
Our vision: inspire change by being the most customer-friendly direct sales company in the world.
You become the best through your attitude, your hunger, and your actions. In Zinzino, we are not afraid to go all out, leading the future to a better place for everyone. We realize we don't know everything, but we still act, and we commit to learn from what we do in order to constantly improve.
Kaizen continuous improvement.
There is strength in numbers. We succeed by working together.
We work together, laugh together, cry together, excel together.
In Zinzino, we encourage personal growth. We recognize the uniqueness in everyone. We believe in giving back. We create inspiration. We innovate. We are the pioneers of test-based, personalized nutrition. We are lifting the field of health and wellness to a whole new individual level and into the future. This is why our goal is big and bold, yet perfectly reasonable. By 2025, we will have 1 million customers in Balance. By 2035, we will have 20 million customers. And by 2050, we will have helped 100 million customers to a life in balance. Enjoy the ride.
Zinzino, we inspire change in life.
Hello, hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it's Friday night again. Welcome to Dr. Webinar. I'm Vincent here, and I will be your main host and translator for today's session. Okay, happy to see you again. And yeah, thank you for taking your time off to participate in today's session. All right, as for those who wish to listen to Mandarin, okay, you may tune in to the Mandarin session. All right, how to do that? Okay, if let's say you're using computer to attend, okay, you can look for the interpretation icon at the bottom on the screen. Okay, just like a globe, and then click on Chinese. All right, if you're joining through your mobile, okay, can click on more and then select Chinese. I will be there doing the translation after the introduction. And of course, today's topic, okay, today's doctor will be discussing with everyone, why is it important and advantageous to have to take Balanceoil in our diet, and how it can help our body to be in balance. And today's specifically, okay, doctor will be discussing with everyone, how Balanceoil can help and improve our most important organs, which is our brain. Our brain is just like our body CPU, controlling all the parts of our body. So without a healthy brain, okay, we will likely not be able to perform normally. And of course, doctor will be touching on very important tool, which is the balance test. Okay, this is the balance test for those who have not seen it before. All right, the test is actually one of the key drivers as to why Zinzino is growing so rapidly worldwide. And of course, the balance test report. Okay, this is the report, right? If let's say usually we will ask our customers to do a test first, maybe, and then they'll get this report. The balance test report will give you a very clear indication of your current health status. And as the society gets more educated, the science and facts of the report will become more relevant and more important. And until today, we have done close to done more than 710,000 tests worldwide, and the numbers is just like growing every week. And of course, Zinzino has recently launched a statistic database, okay, and we call it the Zinzino balance map. Okay, where you can see real-time balance test. Okay, the first test and the second test average for your country. Okay, whether you are residing in Malaysia or residing in Australia or New Zealand or Singapore or America, you can see the statistic. It's very interesting, and I encourage everybody to check out this statistic at zinzinotest.com. zinzinotest.com. Okay, all right. Then, and of course, by the way, for those newcomers, okay, welcome to the session. Zinzino is a test-based nutrition and public listed company that is based in Sweden, and also we are the world leading company with the largest fatty acid acid test database. All right, and Zinzino has been serving many satisfied customers in Europe over the past years, and we are now just starting in Asia. All right, and we have been a tremendous success over in Europe over the past years because of our Balanceoil and our balance test. And I'm very sure that you will become bigger with the Asian market coming up. And of course, before the end of the session, we'll open up the field for some Q&As. So this is a perfect opportunity for you to ask Dr. Abraham anything about health and product. You know, I'm very sure that over the past week, if you are going up, and if let's say you have been meeting customers, talking to your prospects, you have probably encountered a lot of questions from your customers. All right, so just get ready these questions earlier, okay, and type into the chat box later. All right. This is the Q&A is actually the one of the main highlights for Dr. Abraham webinar, and as we can everyone here can learn and share knowledge together. Okay, and as you know more about the products, understand more about the products, you'll be more confident taking it, and you'll be more convincing when you're sharing the product to your prospects. And let me give everyone a short introduction of Dr. Abraham. Doctor has been in the medical field and has worked in the hospital for more than 40 over years. He is a very experienced doctor and has helped plenty of patients back to their health. Even though he's a medical doctor, okay, he truly believes in the holistic approach to keeping our body healthy. And right now, okay, he is also in the scientific advisory board for Zinzino and has been working very closely with the rest of the board members to develop more wonderful and better product for everyone out there. So without further ado, okay, let us all type in 888 into the chat box and give our warmest applause to welcome Dr. Abraham. Doctor, please.
Thank you, Vincent, and good evening to everyone, or I should say good day. There might be some people from different parts of the world. Thank you for joining us on this Friday. My name is Dr. Abraham. I'm stationed in Malaysia, in a place near Kuala Lumpur, which is the head capital of Malaysia. Right now, Malaysia is having a pandemic problem, and we are just coming out of it. The numbers are still high, but at least it is less and a bit more stable compared to, say, 3 months ago. Now, Zinzino has a very special product. We call it Balanceoil, and it has very many effects. Today, I thought maybe we should focus on one area which is very important. As human beings, we live in an environment in which we have to interact. We must be able to see what is going on. And therefore, you need to have normal vision. You must be able to feel the environment, whether it's hot or it's cold. That is the temperature. We must also be able to feel things and to know whether they are sharp, they are pointed, and so on. Now, this is the sensation of pain or sensation of a bluntness. Okay. We also need to know whether anything that we touch or put into our mouth is either good or bad. And the first thing that tells you that is your taste. If you take something and you feel like vomiting, you throw it out. If you take something which is very sharp, you throw it out. Now, all these sensations are modulated by one organ, and that is not the end of it. We move in our environment. We move because we have a skeletal structure, bones and muscles. As the muscles contract, we are able to move. And the human movement is very graceful. Look at the Olympics. You can see how they run the 100 meters, or whether it is the 1,500 meters or the marathon. There is a beauty in the human movement. All this is controlled by nerves. Now, all these nerves collect together in the place that we call the skull, the head. In the skull, we have more than 1 billion brain cells. That's a lot of brain cells. At the moment, it is estimated that we are born with a fixed number of cells. There is some challenge to this idea because some people claim that in the first 2 years, you can develop more brain cells. Now, as far as we know so far, this happens only during the development in the uterus of the mother. Once you're born, the numbers are fixed, they say. Most people accept that, most scientists. Now, as we grow, we learn things, and therefore we acquire more skills. And how does the brain accommodate with the same number of cells? It develops a lot of branches. Each cell develops branches which will get in touch with the branches of other brain cells, and that is how we are able to develop very complex thoughts, very complex ideas, and acquire skills to do certain jobs. Now, the brain is not only physical, it also has certain other functions which we cannot measure, and they are thoughts and emotions. When it comes to emotion, we can't really measure. We can't say, I have 1 kilogram of joy, or half a kilogram of love, or 2 kilograms of hate. These are emotions that we feel when the brain is intact and functioning well. So as you can see, it is a very important organ. This organ weighs about 3 pounds. In kilogram, that will be about maybe 1.3 kilograms, 1.2, 1.3. The weight varies a little bit between male and female, and even among females or males, it varies a little bit. Now, this important organ is so critical that it is housed in a very hard shell, which is our head. That is why it's very hard. At the same time, the brain is as soft as a jelly. Now, a jelly, as you know, if you drop the jelly, it just splits. So in the brain, in the skull, the brain has a method. It has spaces within the brain which has got water, liquid. And there is also liquid around the brain. In other words, both the outside and the inside, there is a liquid that is flowing. So if you knock your head, this fluid can cushion the brain because it is very soft. How soft it is? If you look at the brain, and I happen to work in a neuro surgical ward, when we operate on the brain, open up the skull, you can actually see the brain pulsating along with the heartbeat. Why? Because the soft brain is full of blood vessels. In fact, there's so much work that is going on in the brain that 20% of the energy that we use in a day is used up by the brain alone. Okay, that's a useful tip, because those who want to lose weight not only have to exercise and control their diet, get involved in a very intense mental activity, and you burn more calories. Okay, so this structure is soft, very well supplied by blood vessels, burns up a lot of energy because it is functioning all the time. And amazingly, certain parts of the brain are given certain functions. Like, for example, memory seems to be from one area. It's called the hippocampal gyrus. Now, in people with degenerative disease like Alzheimer's or dementia, this part of the brain seems to have shrunk. And they are very short of a very important ingredient, which we'll talk about soon. And they find that if you get injury to the front of your brain, that person becomes a little difficult to control his emotions. The control of impulses is less if the front part of the brain is damaged or some infection has occurred and caused some damage there. Most of the emotions and thinking takes place in the front, and therefore that gets hit badly. And there are other parts of the brain which control the rest of our body. The temperature in the body is controlled by the brain. The breathing rate, in fact, many of the functions that we normally don't notice, like breathing, the heart rate, the smell, our mood, is controlled by the brain. I wouldn't say controlled, I would say mediated by the brain. There's something more than the brain in a person, and that is the personality, okay? So this is a very important organ. This organ continues into our spine as the spinal cord. When we say spine, we are talking about bones. When we say spinal cord, it's the extension of the brain in the hollow of the spine. In fact, this area is so important, you need the spine, bones, 33 bones, to encase this spinal cord. Now, from the spinal cord, we get nerves coming out to control our muscles and joints. The nerves that come from the brain control all the internal organs. So all nerves are actually extensions of the brain. And you get a supply of this right down to your toes, so that even at your feet, you can feel everything: temperature, pain, pinprick, some blunt thing that has hit your leg. You get all these sensations mediated in the brain. And amazingly, if you go and prick the brain or cut the brain, the patient won't feel anything. In other words, the brain itself doesn't have sensation. It interprets sensations from different parts of the body. Okay. Now, if you take the brain and try to separate the ingredients, shockingly, it is 60% fat. Just fat. Different types of fat, but it is fat. And there is a reason for this. We have more than 1 billion brain cells, and the cells are elongated like a telephone wire or an electric wire, because the sensation that comes from the outside or that comes from the brain to the outside are conducted by electrical activity of the nerve cell. And therefore, each nerve cell must have a coating so that the electrical activity of one cell doesn't affect the function of the other cell. It is almost like very complex electrical wires. If it is not protected by a plastic, it is going to short circuit. Now, in the human brain and the cells, the covering is made up of entirely fat, different types of fat, but they're all fat, mainly phospholipids. This protects the nerve cells and makes sure that the conduction of electrical impulses are steady, reliable, and not short-circuited. This is very important. Why? Because in some degenerative diseases, this covering starts disappearing in certain areas of the brain. in dementia, in Alzheimer's, in certain other areas like diseases like Parkinson. Why this process starts, we don't know. Now, depending on the area this happens, the area that represents the activity will be affected. It could be movement. It could be swallowing. Swallowing is a muscular activity. And when that gets affected, that can be very bad, because then you can't eat or drink. Instead of going into the stomach, it might go into the lungs, and patients like this will need a tube through the nose straight to the stomach to be fed. So depending on the part of the brain that is damaged, you will have the effect. Most of the time, the musculoskeletal part gets affected by a stroke. This is something but almost all of us are familiar with, because we actually see the person being handicapped on one side. It is interesting to note that the nerves coming from the right side of the brain represent the left side of the body, and vice versa. Where does the nerve cross to the opposite side? It crosses in the region of the upper part of the neck. In the spinal cord, it crosses sides. So what happens is, if you had a stroke on your right side of the brain, your left side of the body gets paralyzed. If you get a stroke on the left side of the brain, you might also lose your capacity to speak, because the speaking center is located on the left side of the brain. Some people are lucky that escapes. If that gets affected, the patient will not be able to speak. And the worst part is, speech is divided into two parts. You listen to somebody speaking, you understand what is being said. Then a part next to that will make you speak and give a reply. If both parts are affected, that patient does not understand what you're talking and he cannot talk. But part of it is affected, he understands what you're saying, but he will not be able to reply to you. Terrible situation, actually. Okay, so this can happen in a stroke. Not very common. Paralysis is the most common thing. Okay, now, what do we do to make sure that the brain function at its best till our last days? If you look at a person, you will find that as he gets older, his mental functions decline. Now, that is the time he needs more stimulation to keep his mental functions from declining so fast. But because you cannot have a fun conversation with him, most people say, hello, uncle, how are you? And so on, and they avoid them. When the interaction is less, they degenerate even faster. This is where people living in extended families have very healthy old people, because they are constantly interacting with their grandchildren. And the grandchildren will not leave their grandparents alone. They will talk to them whether the reply is there or not. They'll make fun of them. They'll pull them. They'll increase their physical activity. They get homemade physiotherapy and also emotional wellness. Now, most of that has been lost in our society. So you have to take the responsibility of maintaining your brain health well into your old age. I said 60% of it is fat. About 20% of this is one particular kind of fat. It's called a part of omega-3. It's called DHA. That's the initials of an oil that is part of omega-3. There are two oils there, EPA and DHA. Today, we are going to talk a little bit about DHA, because that is the one that is most used by the brain and by the nerves to maintain the health. Don't get me wrong, to have a good mental health, you must keep your mental activity going. You must be mentally active. You must read. Okay, you must interact with people. You must learn new things. All that must be there. But all that can be only best supported if your brain structure is intact. As we get older, it is known that our brain begins to shrink. And it is found that those who have had good nutrition, including adequate DHA, the shrinkage is very minimal compared to someone who hasn't had that available to them in their diet. Omega-3s cannot be synthesized by the body. You have to take it in the diet, and the part DHA is important. Okay, so where do we get DHA? We can get it from omega-3 oils, fish oils. You can also get it from vegetarian sources. However, vegetarian source of DHA is not strictly DHA that can be used by the body. It is in a form which is 1 or 2 steps before that, and our livers have to synthesize the DHA from that. That oil is called alpha-linolenic acid, or ALA. Now, most of us are not very good or very efficient in synthesizing DHA from ALA. It is found that vegetarians, pure vegetarians, have a higher efficiency of that conversion. And between men and women, women seem to have that conversion a little bit better than men. And it is from that they realize that some female hormones may have an effect on the conversion. You see, the body is not very straightforward. It has got a lot of crisscross functions. Okay, at best, they say you can convert maybe 20 to 30%. So those of us who are not sure, it's better to take a preparation with DHA. And those of us who are vegetarians, and there may be some vegans, and I will tell you about how we can get pure DHA from vegan sources. Now, omega-3 oils, which contains this too, are actually synthesized in the sea by algae plants. So omega-3 is not really fish oil, it's actually a plant oil. Land plants give you ALA, or the pre-omega-3. Sea plants, specifically the planktons and the algae deep in the sea, provide you with the DHA, EPA straight away. Okay. Now, small fish eat this plankton, larger fish eat the small fish, and up we go along the chain. Now, when it is at the level of the vegetable or algae, the DHA is high and EPA is just below that. As it goes through the food chain, the DHA is being used by the larger animals or sea creatures. The DHA gets lower to the level of EPA. So if you have your source right from the start, your preparation will have a good amount of DHA. Okay, and Zinzino has 2 sources of supply. One is from the algae itself, and that is the one that is classified as vegan omega-3. And the next one are the small fish that eat that. So we still have one of the highest DHAs in our preparation that is available in the market. So I want you to know that there is a lot of DHA in Zinzino Balance Oil. Now, this oil is very important to the brain and nerves for several reasons. One, developmental. They find that the DHA requirement of a baby developing in the mother's fetus, the only source is the mother. And therefore, the mother has to make sure they get DHA, or at least a complete omega-3, because we would also like the mother to get the benefits of EPA also, you know. So now when does the brain starts developing? You'll be surprised. That part of the embryo that finally becomes the brain is visible in the second week of development. Wow, that's really early. In other words, if you are planning to have a baby, you should start your supplementation at least 4 months before that. Well, that's the period it takes for all your red blood cells in the circulation to change. So if you want to get the best to your baby that you're planning to have, you should take it at least 4 months before pregnancy. They have done some studies and found that, let's say some mothers missed on this and the babies are born and they did not get adequate DHA. They find that if you give them enough of that during the first 2 weeks, their brain development, I'm not talking about mental development. Mental development comes from education, exposure, by the parents treating the baby in a particular way and teaching them things, okay? Mental development is one thing, but the brain development, the structural development catches up if you can give enough of DHA during the first 2 years. And I think a good amount of infant formulas have DHA in the powder. So they also know that, okay? Now, of course, at this stage, there will be a question in your mind. By providing DHA, can my baby become smarter? No. Becoming smart depends on experience and learning, okay? Indirectly, I would say yes to the question, because if you have a better brain structure, you can realize your full potential. If the structure is not there, maybe you had the capacity to be smarter than you are right now, but you didn't have the nutrition. Okay, so there is a connection, but it's not a direct cause. Okay, now, in the last 3 months of pregnancy, the development of the brain is so fast, they find that the consumption of DHA by the fetus shoots up by many hundreds of %. And they have noticed this. And therefore, I would say expectant mothers, don't miss out on your DHA, or basically omega oil. Okay, that is the development. Now for maintenance, you need DHA, maintenance of the brain covering. Okay, the cells will require all the other things like protein, good minerals, micro minerals, which is available in our Velexit product. Okay, but when it comes to the cell membrane and the fat structure around the cell, yes, you need DHA in large amounts. So you should take a good omega oil. So development, maintenance, and repair. Stress, aging process, especially the now brain cells do not can you still see me and hear me? Oh, I see.
Yeah, just now I think your laptop need omega-3. Need to give them a booster. Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Now it's okay. Yeah, you can proceed.
Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. That's, sometimes this. Okay. So development of the brain, maintenance of the brain, and repairs. The repairs need to be done when you have high stress. There are certain hormones that causes more wear and tear of your brain. When you don't have enough sleep, there is not enough time to repair your brain. All that must be in position. Sleep time is important. If you live till the age of 75, you would have slept for 25 years. 1/3 of our life is spent sleeping. As a baby, you sleep about 14 to 16 hours. As an old man, maybe you sleep only 4 to 6 hours. But if you balance up, it's 1/3 of your life. Why do we sleep so much? That is the time information is processed and stored in the brain, and therefore you must not cut down on your sleep. It won't show immediately. Later on, it will hit you. So all these repairs has to be done by the appropriate raw material. And never forget all of it. I would say the number one thing important is DHA. Okay. Now, so what about balance oil, Zinzino balance oil? Yesterday, we had a small session with the group, and I mentioned that I had done a comparison of some of the good oils that are being sold over the counter. Okay. Any omega oil preparation is good. Zinzino balance oil is probably one of the better ones. And I would say after looking at it, it is second to none actually. And I'll tell you why. When you look at the content of a fish oil, always look at how much EPA, DHA. Most of the preparations come in soft gel, and they will say one soft gel is 1000 milligrams or 1002. Wow, that's a lot. But then a lot of it is just ordinary triglyceride or fat. The important ingredient is DPA, EPA, DHA. You will see that in the label. Add that up. It can be the soft gel may be 1000 milligrams. The EPA DHA combination could be as low as 250. Okay. What is recommended today, and different authorities recommend a little bit different. They recommend anything between 500 milligrams to 1000, depending on where they live and depending on your size. Now, one small serving of Zinzino balance oil will give you 1227 milligrams. So you don't have to worry about being shortchanged when it comes to the total. When you break it down, I noticed that one of the best brands in the market provides in a serving 390 milligrams of DHA. That's very high and very good. And then when I compare it with Zinzino balance oil has got 420 over milligrams per serving for a small size person. If you're above 80 kilograms, then you have to take the higher serving, which goes above 600 milligrams. Now, that is a very generous amount. Okay. Now, when it comes to supplements or food, even supplement is actually concentrated food. More is good. Even more may not be good, may be harmful. So don't get too excited and say, I'm going to take double dose and really take a higher dose, higher serving. No, it doesn't work like that. You must go into the optimum level. Why were some of these preparations so low? Cost is one consideration. The other thing is our requirement has gone up. We live in a modern world. We do not sleep in time. We work 24/7. Thanks to the electric light and the computer, you are never off. Your boss is expecting feedback from you any time of the day. You're given work so that you can go home and complete it. In other words, we are running at a higher level. Okay. To get all the nutrition that you need only from your food, you must eat natural food up to about 5,000 to 6,000 calories. We can't eat that much. We eat less food compared to our forefathers, and the food that we eat has been processed. A lot of it has been processed. Okay. The further the food that is grown from where you live, And the longer it has taken to reach your dinner, lunch table, the less nutrition you'll have in that food. We eat less, we get less nutrition, and we live in a world we are expected to have greater output than our parents or forefathers did. It doesn't work like that. If you want the car to run more miles, you got to put in more petrol. So you got to provide all the nutrition that you can. And one critical nutrition is DHA. Now, this is something that you must focus on, make sure that you take it, especially you have small children, more so during teenage years. They are growing fast. They are maturing fast. They need this omega-3. By the way, those of you who have daughters who are maturing, when they start having their menarche, their first periods, their hormones are going to soar, and the amount of omega-3 they need, and here I'm talking about DHA and EPA, soars. And in fact, that's the time you need to give extra, or just before they get their periods. You will find that at every stage in life, there are times when you need a little bit more. Oh, I'm already old, I didn't know about this. Now is the time to start, because let's say your capacity is beginning to come down. It will go down at a particular rate. If you start taking DHA, it will slow down. If you're lucky, it may even stop at that level and maintain it till your last days. If you are involved in managing a company, managing your own business, the amount of stress you need to go through nowadays is amazing. Omega-3 oils will support the brain function to go through this difficult period. Like I said, don't neglect the basics like good food, enough sleep, and so on. Stress management should be there. This is a raw material that you can provide for the brain. Okay, Zinzino Balance Oil has a high content of DHA, and the high content is made available to the body by polyphenols being added. These are a group of antioxidants that keeps the oil fresh, that supports the oil in absorption into your body and use by the cell membrane of every cell, not just your brain, all cells. Okay, and like I said yesterday, these are not the reasons that I recommend the product. I recommend the product because all these claims can be tested. We have a dry blood spot test where you can actually see whether you have benefited by taking this. Let's say you've been taking some fish oil all these years and you don't know where you stand. Please do the test. These tests are not easily available in East Asia, and in European countries and in North America, 1 or 2 companies are just about introducing it. Now, Zinzino has been doing this for the last 6 to 7 years via a very advanced laboratory in Oslo, in Norway. It's called Vitas. You could look it up in the web and see what kind of lab they are. They are a very advanced lab, and they have done, as Vincent mentioned earlier, for Zinzino, more than 700,000 of such tests. Now, this lab works very closely with research institutions, and they are constantly developing or fine-tuning their tests. And these are not the only things they do. From the red cell membrane, they are able to look at your hormone levels, your sugar levels, just from the membrane. Okay, so they are not just about doing this for Zinzino. They are involved in their work and they are very far advanced. Okay, this is one part that we take advantage of from the services of Vitas. The reports are very detailed. It can give you the reports of 11 different oils in your bloodstream, and that is something like 98% of all the oils circulating in your blood. Okay, we give 2 parts report. One gives a quantitative, so we'll tell you exactly how much of fats are there, and then there's one that is qualitative, that will show how much support you're getting from these oils for your immune system, for your cells, the flexibility of the cells. That part of it is called fluidity of cells. By the way, that is contributed mainly by DHA. Okay, so I would urge all of you to have a look at the oil if you haven't started on it, but do the test. You will know exactly where you stand. If you're already where you should be, continue taking what you're taking. It's working for you. If not, you may want to consider Zinzino. Okay, I'm going to stop here for some questions that you may have. Let me see. There have been some questions already in the chat box. My customer, 82-year-old customer, started taking Balanceoil in July last year. Has never stopped. Now she's taking vegan oil and aqua oil, quite a few things. She has Alzheimer's. Therefore, Sister Zhu cannot judge good or bad based on the time of drinking the Balanceoil. I can only say that this year is much worse than last year. Okay. Now, here is a question where a patient is 82 years old, and from the information, I noticed that she started taking it around the age of almost 81. Okay. And they find that there is no improvement. In fact, after 1 year of faithfully taking the oil, she has gotten a little worse. Okay, this is a very reasonable question. Now, someone who's already past 80, they are already on a path that is going down. We will not be able to stop it. All I can say is the descent is slower with the oil than without the oil. If she doesn't take the oil, she will probably get worse faster. Now, I would add that at this age, their digestion capacity is quite low. You must support it with some kind of protein powder drink. Now, at this age, I would suggest hydrolyzed collagen powder for an elderly person. It is very easy to digest. It is very important for structure. So try and get that and give it to a hydrolyzed collagen powder. Now, there's another mention, myasthenia gravis. Okay. Now, that's a condition where it is not a problem of the nerve. When the nerve comes to attach to a muscle and stimulate the muscle, the electrical activity of the nerve stops just at that point where it touches the muscle. There is a release of an enzyme which affects the muscle receptor, and the muscle will contract. Okay, myasthenia gravis is where that substance is low. They're not sure why this happens, and they feel it could be because of some autoimmune process. So here there is an enzyme that is missing. Okay, now that one will be supplied either by an injection or tablet, and it'll help them. So myasthenia gravis, very unfortunately, it starts with the eyelid. So they get droopy eyelids and find it difficult to open. Okay. Yes, make sure you follow up with your neurologist. Continue with the medication they give. What they give is to replace that enzyme, and it is important. Okay, but take omega oils and make sure they have good nutrition. Omega causes eye itchiness. Yes, if you put it into your eye, you must take it orally. No, it doesn't cause itchiness. If you take orally, no, it doesn't cause itchiness. If there is itchiness, then there is something else going on. Please check it out. Yeah, it's important. Okay. My father, who's 80 years old, is always tired. Oh God. When an elderly person is tired, there are many reasons you got to check out. Your blood level, his nutrition, is his sleep okay? Is his moving his bowels well? And so on and so forth. Yeah. Now you can start with the omega oils, yes, but look into the other areas also. Okay. Can Balanceoil help myasthenia gravis? Oh, that was an earlier one. On brain nerve to check due to swallowing problem. Okay. Now, apparently the doctor has suggested a surgery in the brain because this patient has a swallowing problem. The nerves for swallowing come from the brain within the skull. Okay, there seems to be some disruption. Now, if the disruption is due to some growth or swelling, they would advise operation. But if it is due to degeneration of the nerve itself, no, not operation. So since an operation has been recommended, I assume that there must be something pressing on the nerve, which has to be removed. In my first result, my omega-6 AA is a bit high, but after the 4 months, the AA became green. Does it mean that Balanceoil can reduce AA index? Now, you have asked a question which is a little difficult to answer, but let me put it this way. This is one oil, arachidonic oil, which you must have a certain amount. Having too much is bad. Why is that? Because arachidonic acid, AA, is an oil that is necessary to have inflammation in the body. We must have some inflammation. Only then we can fight back disease, we can help support the repair process in the body and so on. But if you have too much inflammation, then it can break down the body. Okay, so if it is in the green index, that means you are in the right index, right area. Okay, you have balanced. Okay, that's good. Yeah, so remember, arachidonic acid is one of the 11 oils which must not be too low or too high. That's the only one. My customer got itchy spots on hand and leg after taking Balanceoil for some time. Now, very rarely anybody reacts to this. Why? Because nowadays all fish oils are processed to the level where all pollutants, everything is taken off. Okay, so if the person has developed some itchy spots, make sure that it's not due to some other reason. And you have said that after taking Balanceoil for some time, so there was no immediate reaction. It was after some time. I'm just suggesting that it may be something else. Check that out. Yeah. How can Balanceoil help tinnitus problem? This is a tinnitus is a condition where there is sound in the ear. Sometimes a humming sound, sometimes a intermittent sound, and it gets louder at night because all around you is quiet. And it can be very irritating because it's like somebody ringing a bell in your ear all the time. Some people very soft, some people louder. Now, so far, modern medicine has not been able to sort out this problem. So what they do is they tell you to ignore it. Now, if you're a patient, you feel like telling the doctor how to ignore. There's something ringing in your ear. Okay. Now, here they feel that it could be due to a middle ear problem. The ear has got an outer, a middle, and an inner ear. Now, the inner ear is the one that is controlled by nerves. So if the problem is from the middle ear, the mechanism is different. Okay. There is a very complex operation for this if it becomes really bad. But most ENT doctors don't like to do that operation. Only the very experienced one. Okay. So I cannot say your tinnitus problem will be solved. Let us say that in case there are few people where it is the inner ear that gives the problem. Now, if it is due to that, yes, omega oils will help. My mom is a stroke case because of brain have water. Can have this product help on it? Okay. What I can make out from this is there is some fluid collection in the skull. So the skull is hard. If there is fluid collection, and as the fluid increases, it presses on the brain, and that can cause symptoms of stroke. Now, why is there water in the brain? You remember I mentioned earlier that as we get older, some people have shrinking of the brain. Now, there are blood vessels that are coming from outside, going through the skull and supplying the brain. Small vessels. As your brain shrinks, it exerts a pull on these blood vessels that can rupture. And you start get some bleeding inside, little bit. So they don't complain much, but as it gets more and more over a few days or weeks, then it gets becomes a problem. Now, this one, there is no other way but to actually do a surgical procedure to remove the fluid. But you have used the word stroke. Now, stroke is a different phenomenon. So there, the blood supply to the brain tissue is disrupted, and that part of the brain brain cells may have died, and the fluid may have come later. So removing the fluid may not improve. Now, since your mom has got a stroke, there is a high chance that she can get subsequent strokes. One of the steps to prevent that is to take omega oils. Okay. The other thing is make sure if she has any blood pressure or diabetes, it must be controlled well. Otherwise, the stroke can recur. Okay. How do we know whether we have triglycerides? Triglycerides are very important for energy production. We must have triglycerides. Now, triglyceride levels can be checked if you check the blood for it. Okay. Too much of that is bad for the heart. Heart blood vessels in the heart can get blocked if you have too much triglycerides. Now, triglyceride measurement comes under cholesterol testing. So you will have 4 or 5 items there which you need to know. One of that is triglyceride. So that you will need a full blood test. Okay. 2 questions. Can balance oil help to improve memory? What age can a young child take balance oil? I'll answer the second one first. They can start as soon as 1 year old. Okay. In fact, they need the DHA even before that. Now, if they are on breastfeeding, then the supply is from the mother. If not, if you're on an infant formula, make sure it has got DHA. Will it improve memory? Memory is a very complex reaction. Okay. People who can make associations of different ideas and concepts have better memories. If you have interest in a subject, you will have better memory. Like, for example, you read the newspaper, you read once, you know all the news. You read the textbook, you have to read it 10 times before you remember. So interest also counts a lot. But all this has to use the structure of the brain. Okay. So it will help with the structure of the brain, and it will bring out the best that you can perform. First balance test result 8.1 to 1. That's already good for a start, because in this area, we notice 20 to 25 to 1. After taking it for 1 month, most of our members are very short on their patience. It's already hit 3 to 1. What does this indicate? You didn't mention this, but I notice in our region, vegetarians respond very well to Balanceoil. They reach their 3 to 1 very quickly. By the way, you have done a great job, and I think you're a person who is quite careful with your diet. So your omega-6 consumption probably is under very good control. Excellent. Excellent, Eddie. Yeah. Can Balanceoil help to improve mild autism? Autism is a name given to a spectrum of symptoms. They really don't know what it is. One of the main areas in autism is their gut is not very good. So they need a diet where you must take away any dairy products and stuff like that. You must make sure they have enough probiotics. Okay. Yes, the Balanceoil will support the brain. So they will need special training, special teachers, and so on. We really don't know what's going on. But the incidence in the last 20 years has gone up tremendously. Can Balanceoil help in liver cirrhosis? Again, cirrhosis is the result of a number of things. It could be heavy drinking. It could have been a hepatitis which happened earlier in life. So we need to know the cause. Okay. Yes, if you're doing all the things that are necessary for recovery, Balanceoil is an important tool. Can children with heart problems use Balanceoil? Yes. Will it help the heart problem? Quite unlikely. When you say children and heart problem, it is usually because they are born with that kind of a problem. So they may need some treatment, they may need some surgical correction. What you're going to do is support the rest of the heart so that it remains strong. So yes, you must give Balanceoil. Just want to know what's the difference. We do blood tests at clinic between this balance test. Okay, balance test, we don't check the liquid part of your blood. The liquid part of the blood shows that you have eaten something, it has been absorbed, and how much of it is circulating in the body. How much of it is used by the body, how much of it comes out in your bile and urine, we don't know. What we do here is we check the membrane of the red blood cell. In our regular lab testing, they don't do that, you see. Technology is different. Now, if it is present in the red blood cell membrane, that means the body has picked it up and used it. Okay, that is the final test, that your body has actually benefited. Can Balanceoil help in carpal tunnel syndrome? No, carpal tunnel syndrome is inflammation in the wrist area. Okay, if it is very mild, there are some authorities say that if you take a high dose of vitamin B6, it may help. Okay, the other thing that you need to look for is whether your thyroid function is okay. Okay, it is a simple presentation but a complex problem. Okay.
All right. Okay, one last question from Angeline. Okay.
Balanceoil, can it fulfill nutrition for our body? If you look at the number of nutrients that our body needs, it adds up to a little more than 100. Okay, so you see now why we need to have a good diet, because only a diet can supply all of them. But we live in modern times, our requirements go up and down. There are certain areas we fall short because of the preparation of our food. And one area where we fall very short is omega oil. So we are looking at only one. Okay. So how does it stand in priority? I would say if you take protein, fats, vitamins, and minerals, these are the top four. And I would put the omega oil as number 2. Okay. Can balance oil improve emotions? Always easier to get. This depends on the personality. Okay. It's very difficult to change personality like uh, now, surprisingly, they have done some studies on DHA. They find that the mood improves if you are under stress. So under normal conditions, you cannot change the personality. But if you're under really heavy stress, some people are very aggressive. There seems to be some effect on that aggression if they are under stress. So maybe try it and see. But when you try it, don't disturb their emotion. Make sure they are agreeable.
All right. Okay. Thank you, doctor, for your sharing once again. We are over time today, but I can see that we have more questions coming in, and yes, and I think today everyone has benefited from your tip and advice. Let us give a doctor a round of applause again. Thank you so much, Dr. Abraham.
Thank you.
All right, and of course, wow, the Zinzino has so many health benefits, and let us get started today. Okay, if you like what Dr. Abraham has shared earlier, okay, but have not taken any have not tried our product yet, all right, talk to the person who introduced you, okay, who invited you to the call, and then do your first test. Okay, do your first test so that you will know where you stand. Okay, you may have taken plenty of supplement before, just like myself, I have taken a lot of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants before for more than 15 years. But the first test that I done, okay, I'm at 12.7. All right, 12.7 is to 1. So even for those, so you can see, yeah, even though you have taken a lot of supplements, you would still not be balanced. Even for those who have been taking other brands of omega-3, you should try the balance test yourself to see that the product you are taking, whether they are working for you or not. We have plenty of customers who have been taking the omega-3s for a long time, and you'll be surprised that after years of taking, they are still not 3:1 balance yet. Okay, we have done more than 710,000 tests, and we can see that 95% of the people worldwide, they are not balanced, even for those who have been taking the omega-3s. So what does this mean to you? Okay, you may want to consider, okay, putting your money on products that are more effective and helpful for you, or such as our Zenzino balance oil. Okay, I can assure you that it's worth every cent of your money. All right. Okay. So after you have taken the balance test, right? Take the balance oil for 120 days every day, and then take the test one more time to see your second result. Okay. Out of the test that we have done, we can be very confident. We can be very confident that you will see an improvement in your results, after taking the products for 120 days. And of course, when you like the product, you can share with your friends, your family, and make sure you do your and when you have 4 customers yourself, Zeno will actually reward you with a free product for your sharing effort. All right, and then from there you may even want to start your Zeno business. And actually, right now is the best time for you to follow up with the customers. Okay, I put out a screen. My screen is very fast. Can just take a look at this. Okay, this one. Okay, this is the one that the campaign that we have. This is the customer deal. All right. So when you actually have when you get your customer pack or customer kit, when you share it with your friends, they will get 1 bottle of 50 ml serum for free. Okay. So for example, your customer buy 1 kit. Okay, 1 customer premium kit. Okay, too big, too small. Okay, they will get 1 free serum. All right. So this is a fantastic deal. We have fantastic feedback about this serum, and everyone should really try this. Not only the ladies are loving the serum, but actually the men are also loving it. So don't miss out this amazing deal. And of course, we will be we know, just like today, we know many of you here may not be able to explain the products well, so you can actually invite your prospect to our weekly health talk. We have nowadays actually we have health talk almost like every day. Okay, Monday, Tuesday, every day. Okay, Monday is will be the next one will be the Victor Chow one. Okay, the next Monday will be the Mandarin session. Okay, and then Tuesday will be Master Shane session. Okay, Master Shane session, Victor Chow session will be at 9 p.m. Okay, Malaysia time, Hong Kong time. Master Shane session will be at 6 p.m. on Tuesday. 6 p.m. will be the English session. Mandarin will be 7, and then 8 p.m. will be the Cantonese one. And right now, we also have Thai session on Wednesday. Okay, Thai session on Wednesday. All right, this is a new health talk. Okay, we'll put up the link on Teams in Zeno Asia. And of course, Thursday and Friday will be the Dr. Abraham session, as well as our Mandarin nutritionist Julia session on Friday next week. So yeah, we have every day we had health talk. So it's going to the why are we doing this? Because we designed for you to actually invite your friends and prospects to the session to get them understand the importance of taking the products. Okay. So I know it might sound a bit too much for you to remember. All right, not to worry, not to worry. Okay. You can actually stay connected with us at our Facebook group. Okay, Facebook group. Okay, you can if you have not liked, if you have not followed our Facebook group, okay, you can go to our Facebook, and key in Team Zenzino Asia. Okay, remember to follow. Okay, Team Zenzino Asia, remember to follow. Okay, stay connected with us. Okay, because over there, we will share a lot of information about our health talks, about our business talks and everything. Here we will be putting there. And of course, we will also be sharing all this information on our various social media channels as well. Okay, so you can actually screenshot this and of course you can see that we actually have YouTube channels. We have other social media channels. So just screenshot this, and then after that you can go and add and stay connected with us. For your learning effort. Okay, so all right, this webinar is coming to an end. Okay, please stay safe, stay healthy in the meantime. Okay, and do plenty of Zoom meeting. All right, we hope to see you again next session on next Monday. All right, thank you for your participation. Good night and have a wonderful weekend. Bye for now.